There is a perfect example of motherhood out there. We've all felt its presence. It lingers in our social media feed, in the products we buy, the answers to the questions we research. Even though we know it's not real, we feel it spotlight what we could be doing better.
Join two best friends as they step off the stage of motherhood and go behind the scenes with moms from different walks of life.
The Momcult Podcast. Real moms, real talk, real tired. What episode number is this? 11?
11.
Damn.
Wow.
Episode 11. Right?
Yeah.
Why in my mind did we just do episode 20? Because we did after.
Yeah, after the episodes.
Got it.
Which really are their own.
Yeah.
They are their own episodes. They're
Yeah.
long enough. They're not like 15
11's
minutes.
my favorite number.
Oh
It really is.
my.
I've never heard that in my
Gosh.
entire
Yes, my,
life.
my basketball jerseys were 11. when I
Mine
a
was
kid.
12.
Wow.
That's not as cool, but whatever. 12 comes right after 11, guys. This is crazy.
This is crazy.
Well, welcome, Jesse, to
you.
episode 11 of the Momcult Podcast. And it is our Father's Day special because it is June, which is the only month that dads get any credit. So
Or just
you
the
should
one
really
day.
soak in it. Really, yeah, just the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said mom cult. What did I say?
Dad
I
cult?
liked it. Dad cult edition.
Oh, yeah. I like that too.
Thanks. Thank you. I had about a half an iced coffee, so I'm about to levitate. I'm just going to finish that while we're here and fly out the window. So that seemed weird, or that's why.
Well, welcome, Jesse. I know Jesse from acting class, but we really know each other from life before that, just not as well as we do now. Because we both recognized each other in
Yes,
class, right?
that
I
is
felt like I
correct,
was
yes.
like, I feel like I should know this person. And then I didn't say anything. And then you eventually said the same thing to me. And I was like,
Right.
oh, I'm so glad you said something.
Yeah, and here we are.
And here we are.
How long have y'all been in acting class together?
Only since we've been back in person, right? Or did you join? When did you start? Because that would be it. Whenever you started it,
4
the
months
space
ago.
we are now. Okay,
Yeah, 4 or 5 months ago, I think.
Oh, wow.
not crazy.
Man, you just brought him right in.
I brought him right in.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, welcome. We're very excited to have a dad on. It's been on our list of something that we want to do for a long time, and Father's Day just seemed like the best time to initiate that. I'm sure, like, I want to have more on, I guess, more on.
Wow.
I want to have more dads on,
Yeah.
but haven't really figured out what kind of pattern or how often or when. So this just seemed
Well, first and best.
Well, I feel very honored.
you should.
Thank you.
This is a really big deal.
Well, I don't.
I'm
I can't.
very nervous. I'm just kidding.
I'm on the edge of my seat to ask this question. How old are your? I know we're going to do check-ins, but just to circle back to this, how old are your boys?
15, 12, and 10.
Wow.
And then I have a dog that's a year and 4 months.
Cool.
Yeah, so a furry boy.
Nice. 15, 12. Wow, those are all really
Bing, bang,
important
boom.
ages.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite number right in the middle.
Right there.
Callback.
In case everyone forgot.
All right. Whoa. Just taking that in. 3 boys. Okay.
3
How's your
boys.
week?
Busy.
Yeah, speaking
Been
of 3
busy.
boys, how's your week?
It's been busy. We're actually getting ready to travel, so we leave this Friday. We're going out west. It's kind of our yearly trip with the boys
How long?
for a week.
Nice.
Yeah, so we'll be in Venice Beach, Santa Monica area, just kind of hanging
Cool.
at the beach. And my middle son's a foodie, so he's got a list of all these places he wants to go eat. My oldest doesn't care, and the youngest is into fashion all of a sudden.
Nice.
So he wants to go shopping for some insanely expensive shoes.
Of course.
Fun. What
like,
kind
no.
of shoes? Do you remember?
Last night he showed me a pair of these like black and yellow Jordans. I don't know what number.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I was like, yeah, we're not
12.
getting those.
No, but it's cool that he's into that stuff. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Fun. They sound fun.
Yeah, they are. They are. So we just wrapped baseball like a week and a half ago. And the month of June, they're doing like just like a rec league for a month, basketball. And I'm losing my shit because like I can't keep up with the schedules. So I'll stare at the schedule for like a few, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, I don't know who's who. So that's kind of how it is.
All
Are they,
3 of them?
Yeah, are they all in the same one or
No,
3 different ones?
3 different age
Brackets.
brackets and different practices and games. And,
Times.
Yeah. So
Oof.
I don't even, that's a lot.
yeah.
That
yeah.
alone.
Yeah. I'm ready for a nap.
But they're older, so do they get themselves to things?
They do, for the most part.
Cool.
For the most part.
Cool.
It's the very simple things they forget.
Right.
That you're like, why do I still have to be reminding you of these things, though?
Yeah, or they'll walk over like the same sock or underwear in the middle of the room. They'll just walk around it, and I wait. And let me see if they notice that it's there. And they're like, oh, we don't want to step on that, kind of. So I was like, guys, do you guys not see?
These aren't landmines that you need to avoid. These are items you actually need and that you should pick up.
But when they have a hang with a friend or something planned, they are on me like, hey, don't forget, you need to drop me off at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. They want everybody there at 3 o'clock because we're going to go to the mall.
Oh,
Don't forget.
Yeah, that's been the more Ava's going into 5th grade next year, and the more that school becomes her world, she'll come home already stressed. Like, no, but they say we have to be there at 5:15 because we have to get our choir things on. And I'm like, hey, I know that this feels like the most important day of your life, but we'll get there. Don't worry about it. How's your week, Sarah?
It's good. Let's see. Let me remind myself. I wrote, there's a full page of check-in in front of me, and really it's like the first thing was I had a really sweet morning, but then I was like forgiving myself for, it was when he went back to school. Monday was back to school, so we were out for 2 weeks, which he's only in for 2 days a week. I have a 3-year-old, or he's almost 3, still
almost
2.
3.
He's almost 3 though. He was going back to his 2-day-a-week school thing, and I hear people say like, oh, back to school, oh, school's out, and you hear that and you don't, I don't know, register it before kids, but
That's
school's
real.
like
but school is
really
out.
really important. and what I notice is it's important for both of us. I mean, I don't know if every kid's like that, but he really loves school, loves people, and really it's like
structure too.
Yeah. And we don't need to be, not anybody needs to be together that much. I mean, I don't need to speak for everybody, I guess, but most people don't need to be together that much. So he just starts I can control my irritation, or for the most part, but he really can't. So he's just like kind of mad at me for no reason, like after 2 weeks of just only,
right.
Not like we're only together, but I'm the one around him most. Anyway. So my first check-in from Monday was like, it was like the sweetest morning. We were both so amped for him to go back to school. And I was just like forgiving myself talking about forgiving myself for, wanting that or feeling.
Right. Wanting the space.
Yeah. And it seemed like he did too. And we were great and popped out of bed. And anyway, everything was like cute. And then yesterday, he did his first swim lesson, which we didn't get into the pool until, it was over. The swim lesson was over when he got in. And by the way, I was 10 minutes early, but still,
nice.
It was like a 30-minute lesson, and he didn't get in the pool, but then finally jumped in and was super into it and just obsessed and freaking out and loved it. Went to the outside, just too many details. But the point is, loved the pool and wanted to stay forever. We were outside at the Y pool, and I was watching him like just be into it and learn things and be so excited. And I was like crying behind sunglasses at how wild this all is, and how, just those moments. And I don't know. I don't really feel like crying.
I think I've had too much caffeine to also be emotional.
No, if I can cry through that amount of caffeine, that's jarring. So I don't really feel like it. Joy's crying, though.
You might release some of the caffeine.
Yeah.
Anyway, I already did today. I don't feel like it anymore. No thanks. Anyway, all that to say, I don't really have a point. I mean, I guess I could say just school makes you more appreciative, or whenever you have the space, it makes you more appreciative. Do you have a good?
Well, I was just saying, in those moments, is it like if you had to kind of narrow down what that feeling is that seems to not be able to be contained and have to like roll out of your eyes, down your face? Is that like pride, or just like the closest thing to just like joy or love, or like I would love to like to know if you can
name it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that thing is like the magic thing, I think, like that people talk about, where he's like a person and he's learning and he's into stuff, and also like coming back to me and being proud. It's like all of those things in one. Mm-hmm. Like maybe that is being a parent or being a mom.
Yeah, like the moments that we talk about. It's like, oh, this isn't this all the time. It's just going to happen in little moments, and I just want to do whatever I can to be present for those. and know that something stressful is probably about to happen.
100%.
Like when I put you in the car after the pool.
Oh my God.
Like it's all going to just like
took an
crumbled.
Hour. Yeah. He did not want to leave, but I could chase that dragon for ever.
Yeah.
It's so good. So that.
I feel like that's what, like that's the feeling that makes all the hard stuff worth it, is because another one of those moments is around the corner.
Yeah. 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 So that.
Well, that's nice.
Thanks. How about you?
I'm fine. I don't know. Tired. I feel like I'm just kind of white knuckling all the time, and I don't like that. I want to have more space in the day where things feel chill. And Ava's just at an age where I feel like we're getting on her all the time because she's transitioning and growing, and her responsibilities are changing and the expectations are changing, and she's mad about that too. And I'm mad that I still have to be responsible for certain things with her that I feel like she should be responsible herself. And then knowing that it's all probably going to land on like me, like, oh, I need to work on this, or I need to grow in this area, and just being like, can I be done growing? I don't want to try to be a better person anymore. I'm just tired. I just want to stop.
Nope.
Nope. But it's fine. Penny says, thank you. And she's definitely getting way cuter, and also way more when she's not happy. It's a lot, especially out in public. It's like that where you're just like immediately mortified that your kid just made that noise and interrupted everybody, trying to like separate my feelings from like, this is just like a blip in this person's day. They're not even going to remember this happened. But I don't know, when you're in it in the moment in like a small coffee shop or something, you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was so loud. I was going to ask you what you remember about, when did you start doing the single parenting, or do you guys swap?
Yeah, we do.
Weeks.
Yeah, we do 1 week on, 1 week off.
Wow.
We were doing Friday to Friday, and then we change it to Wednesday to Wednesday, and it's beautiful. We have a great system.
Yeah.
Beautiful dynamic friendship, and it's really incredible. It really is. If and when I get married again, I want to write a book about it, being married but living as if you're separated, because we've created this space for each other. I mean, I get a whole week off.
Yeah, it sounds...
I mean, it's still hands-on-ish. If I get a text or a call, they have phones now, except the youngest, so they text me all the time if they need something. So I'm always on the clock.
Yeah.
But for a week, I can do whatever I want to do, and I get to focus on me. Or I can just be, as I say, responsibly irresponsible. Carry out food all week. Yeah. Not do the laundry.
Right.
Spend extra time at the gym, and then hang out late night, and cocktails with buddies. But yeah, so incorporating that in like an actual marriage, I think, is a recipe for like a very successful long term. Creating those spaces in your marriage. You don't always have to be hands on together.
Right.
Interesting.
Right.
So creating those opportunities for you to go do whatever it is that you want to do. You wrestle every Thursday, go wrestle,
Acting class every Monday.
Whatever that is, and then...
I'll switch to wrestling, yeah. Get some of that aggression out. How old were the kids when you guys changed your
So that
life up?
was 2016.
Okay.
I'm terrible at math.
Oh my God.
Me too. We can't help you.
Yeah, no, just guess. We don't, whatever.
It's 5 years ago.
6 years ago? Wait.
Don't, just, it's fine. 7, I don't know. Carry that, whatever. You get it. Somebody knows.
Somebody phone in.
You decide.
Phone in
Use
and
the calculator on your phone.
So they were pretty young.
Yeah.
They were little.
Wow.
And at the time, we knew this was coming, and had really great conversations with the therapist in that process. And man, he said, just be honest with them. And obviously they don't need to know details that they don't understand, but this is life. So I've kind of always approached it that way with them since day one. I took them to see this house where I was going to live, and I said, hey, this is where Mom and I are going to have 2 houses, and it's going to be great. You can have 2 of everything. And of course they didn't understand, but we would talk things through, and I would ask them, I would tell them, if you ever have any questions or concerns, let me know. And they did for a little while, but it was just kind of a seamless transition.
Yeah.
I feel we're very fortunate with that, you know, and because we were intentional about it from the beginning with them. So, and they, you know, that kids adjust. I think it would have been far worse for me to shelter them and protect them instead of just talking to them. Hey, this is what happens sometimes with adults, and life happens and things don't work out, but they always work out. But yeah.
I would love to know. We talk about mom guilt a lot on this podcast, and we've never got a version of what dads feel guilty about, or even if you don't anymore, something you worked through, or whether that changes through the ages. But are there some things that stick out to you that you feel like are maybe something that dads specifically carry with them that maybe moms don't?
Yeah. Do you feel guilty?
What do you feel guilty about?
You know, as there's this pressure as a dad, you know, to be a provider for them, and it never feels like it's enough, and it is. But I think I've made some adjustments for myself, where, you know, they have plenty, but we you know, try to keep up with a certain lifestyle. You know, you see certain people, they parent their kids a certain way, and there's this pressure of not being that from the outside. Like, oh gosh, that's what, you know, how could it be that? And only realize, like, no, you know, you don't want to be that, you know? Yeah, just not giving them enough. Sometimes I felt that for a long time. And, you know, and when I first moved to Nashville, you know, I was trying to find work, so struggling with that and kids. It was tough.
Yeah.
But I knew that we needed to be here. So, yeah, the guilt was more being that provider. You know, I moved here and I had, like, I don't know, maybe 4 months saved of, you know, savings, and ran out of money. And, you know, I came here to do music and filmmaking. I remember calling my dad and saying, man, I have no money, you know, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I may have to go, and this is part of my story now, like, back then, I may have to go get, like, assistance from the government because I have nothing. And this is the poorest I've ever been in my life. And I was crying. I felt embarrassed and ashamed. And I thought he was going to bail me out.
That's what I was hoping for.
And he says, you know, you're exactly where you need to be. And it's going to be, you're exactly where you need to be right now. And things are going to work out, you know. You got to keep following your heart while you went to Nashville, and everything's going to be fine. And he was right. He was right. So yeah, the guilt's always been that, providing for them and being that strong example to them.
Role model.
You know, I grew up. My dad they weren't very affectionate growing up when we were young, and it wasn't until my brother started having kids that all those walls came down for them and they became
grandparents.
Like, what? You know. Like I told my dad,
just been saving it all.
There's another thing. So like I told my dad I love him. I was maybe like 24, 25 when I told him for the first time.
Wow.
I mean, he knew I loved him.
Right. Sure.
But it was just culture.
Yeah.
The strong Mexican culture, at least that we experienced. It was weird. And I remember standing next to him and I said, hey, Dad, I love you. And he's like, yeah, I love you too. We didn't look at each other, you know? And I promised myself that I would always, like, be affectionate with my kids and hug them and kiss them. And sometimes I feel bad that I'm not that, because it's still strange to me.
Yeah.
You know? Usually when they go with their mom, we do the transition, the exchange of goods.
Exchange.
That's when they text me. Especially my oldest. He'll text me and it's like, Dad, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too, man. It's so easy via text. You know? But in person,
all the emojis.
It's hard. It's still very difficult. I watch a lot of movies. Obviously, we watch a lot of movies. So just crying at a powerful story, it was huge, because they're like, why are you crying? Like, because it's beautiful. Like, are you sad? No, but it's just beautiful. And so I've allowed them to
see you emotional.
Yes, that's incredible.
And I've given, like, you gotta, whatever it is you're feeling, you know, gotta feel it. Out. You know, if you're happy, be happy. Growing up, if we're too happy, we'd be like, stop acting like a fool. You're sad. What are you sad about? You have everything you need. You know, you're upset. Why are you upset?
Yeah.
So
I can't feel anything.
Boys don't cry. So with them, it's like, hey, and when they get upset, I let them get upset, and they have their when they were little, they'd have little tantrums. When they're older now, they get, a little aggressive, and I'm like, hey, that's cool, but don't. I mean, there's a time limit on how long you're gonna stay in that funk. I'm gonna let you say what you gotta do, say and do, but after that, let's go. We gotta move on. Yeah. So. Yeah.
How do you pull them out of it? Or you just are like,
we talk a lot.
Cool.
And that's new to me too. My oldest has a girlfriend. Just been a new, just strange to me.
Yeah.
But we talk about everything, which is incredible to me. And it's beautiful because half the time I don't know
what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm winging it.
Don't let your kids know, but I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, no, I just am constantly telling Parker, just when your cognition is developed enough, you'll just help me figure out how to do this because
we're in this together.
Yeah, everything.
Had an incredible dad moment that my oldest will probably remember forever.
Yes,
I had been planning to have the talk with him, the talk. Because I know there was a girl on the horizon and all. I'm like, oh gosh. His mom's like, yeah, I think we need to talk to him, and he's got to hear from you. So I got all these resources. I'm online reading all these articles. I'm like this. No one ever talked to me about this. So
right.
And just one day, I just kind of went for it. He walked up. I'm like, hey, buddy, come on. I got to talk to you real quick. Went to his room and closed the door. We sat in his bed, and we talked for 45 minutes. Incredible conversation. We both walked away, and I was like, wow. I walked away just super proud. And then, a week later, I realized he had just came out of the shower. So he was in a towel. And I followed him into his room and closed the door, and we sat down and had this whole conversation while he was in his towel. I did not.
You were on a mission.
Right. So I'm like, oh no. He will forever remember that Dad talked to me about sex and I was in my towel. I just took a shower. And yeah, so that's life as a dad. You know, we kind of just go, let's do it. And then it's like, it's time. Oh crap, we didn't think this through. Yeah.
What are I don't know if I want to do the best or the most difficult. What's the most challenging thing to navigate at the ages that they are right now? I mean, we kind of talked about your oldest as far as venturing into, greater adulthood. What about the middle one and the youngest one?
All three of them have obviously different personalities and have to approach them differently. It's something I've learned. I kind of want to just kind of the same thing all across, and it does not work.
Yeah.
Back when I would discipline a little more when they were little, it was different for each one. My the oldest, he's like the leader of the pack. He's the firstborn, and he's kind of what do we need to do, and he does it. He doesn't question anything. It's just like let's go. My middle son, we need to do this. He's like, why do we need to do that right now? Because I said we need to do it right now. Well, why do we have to do it that way? What if we do it this way? I'm like, just do it, man. Come on. So he's like the negotiator, and he analyzes everything, which I love that about him. It's a beautiful thing. What's challenging for me is how do I nurture that, not discourage that,
right?
Because he's a very powerful kid. So, and he could use those strengths, and then not so. You're
just ready for him to use them on other people.
So, and then the littlest one, the youngest one, he's 10 going on 200. He's got an old soul. Mm-hmm. He's lived a different life, 100%. And I could even share a few stories later about things that have happened that's inspired a movie that I'm working on because of him. But he's, every night. Or it doesn't matter if we go out to dinner, I buy dinner or cook dinner. He's the only one. And I fight with him because he doesn't eat all his food all the time. But he's the only one that says, Dad, thanks for cooking dinner. This was great. Every day.
That's so sweet.
Time. I took him, we picked up some Greco food. Mm-hmm. Afterwards, he's like, thanks for buying dinner. Every time. Every time.
That is so
and I want to
sweet.
tell him, well, you didn't eat any of it. But it's like, well, man, So they're different. So trying to figure out the best way to really get to them, it's a challenge, and I don't know if I ever will.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe that. I think by the age of and I may have read this somewhere. So I think by the age of 3, I feel like our kids have like a foundation of what we've put in them, and
you're so close, Sarah.
That sounds like a lot of pressure.
No, yeah, it does. Because I remember thinking, I was like, oh crap. So now them being older, I see a lot of that, of what I feel like, man, the certain values that I've put in them that they're going to carry with them forever. Yeah. But then also the other side is they're just their own person. They're going to make their own decisions. So I've taken pressure off myself that I'm like, I'm going to give them the tools. I'm going to show them the roadmap and share experiences and my stories with them, but they're gonna make their own decision one day, and I can't feel bad about it. God, I wish I could. No, I did my best, and they're gonna choose what they what they want to do. So hopefully, it won't be too foolish of decisions that they make.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, and I don't know, maybe this is a generational thing. I'm not sure, but whenever Jeremy and I talk about our kids being older, we just want them to feel that if there is a decision or a situation or anything they get themselves in, that we can be the first on their list that they know they can call. Like, I don't want to be on the list of like, just as long as mom and dad don't ever find out about this, I'll be fine. I feel like for us, it was like everything was just like, no, don't tell your parents. Oh God, please don't let my parents find out. Which I know she still feels that way even now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want my parents to know. But just trying to create, instead of this hierarchy feeling of just no, we're not just friends. We are your parents. We are in charge of some things. But yeah, sometimes I just get excited about them being in their 20s and 30s and just getting to hang out with my own kids for fun.
It was Halloween. I think it was last year. I don't know if they're going to hear this, but hey, this is Dad talking. So I threw a Halloween party the day before Halloween. So friends came over, had music, and everyone was there. So the next day was actual trick-or-treating. I was too tired. So they trick-or-treating with their mom and all their friends. Said, guys, let me know how it goes. Have fun. I stayed home watching TV. And late night, I get a text from my oldest because he'd gone trick-or-treating with his girlfriend and their friends. And he says in the text, hey, Dad, just want to let you know that I kissed her tonight. And I'm just staring at my phone. I'm like, well, damn, I don't know what to say.
What do I say?
What do I,
Yeah.
So wait, I'm like processing this. I'm like, God, I don't know what to say. And then he says, this is like my first kiss ever. I lost it. And I was like, buddy, that's exciting. I remember my first kiss. It's a big deal. It's so cool. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you're experiencing this. And then quickly went into, hey, just remember respect. No means no. And all this went down the line.
You sent him a link.
If you can get consent on video. How long did it take you to respond? Do you know in your mind, like how, like I'm just picturing like 3 dots for like 20 minutes or.
Well, he responded pretty quick, so that helped me.
Right.
Okay.
The second text.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know what to say. But looking back, like, man, I'm so grateful for that. That we have that open communication.
Well, and that he,
felt comfortable.
It sounds like he wasn't telling you because my dad needs to know this. It sounds like you were someone that he was excited to share the news with, which is fun.
And the other two, I don't know what that's going to be like. I feel like my middle son he's a little more private. So I feel like we're probably not going to talk as much. We've had the conversation as well, and it was great.
Was he in a towel or a bathrobe?
No, I made sure it was like
fully clothed.
Right. Wait. Okay,
you
great.
Got pants on? Okay.
But it's clockwork. My oldest having that conversation with him.
Yeah.
And then now the middle son having this conversation. Like
same age.
Early this year, last year. I was like, oh man, it's clockwork. And I've told each of them, I need you to protect your younger brother. I know you're experiencing life now. You're exploring, and that's totally normal. But your younger brothers are still, man, just let them be kids, and let me have this conversation with them as I have with you. So protect them, protect what you're watching and listening to for them. But it's hard with technology. It's so freaking hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know yet, but I am well, yeah, I do. Even the things that a 3-year-old's exposed to is a lot. So that's a really cool thing to be aware enough to tell them or ask them not to overexpose the younger kids. I feel like that happens really easily, not in like a weird way, but just, too much stuff. Ooh. Older siblings. Just cut that whole thing. No, that's fine.
Well, I want to share one quick story.
Yes.
Because there's one moment that has always stuck in my mind as feeling super guilty. We were at a supermarket, and my middle son was very little, and he had this high-pitched scream that he would just, every 30 seconds was like, everybody's looking over. Of course, I'm thinking, everybody's thinking I'm this deadbeat dad, and this kid's yelling. He's not, poor kid, And so all these things are going through. I'm embarrassed, and I'm leaning on my buddy. Stop, and he wouldn't stop. And like it was quick little boop. Like I flicked him on his lip. It was like a quick, because I was like, stop. But it was like the perfect flick in the history of flicks, because it sounded like a little slap. That it hit his lip, like his bottom lip, and he stopped, and he's staring at me, and I'm staring at him like, oh my gosh,
what did I just do?
And a little bit of blood starts dripping down from his lower lip, and I'm like wiping. I'm like, oh my gosh, and he didn't yell again after that. So that night we were home, got out of bed, dinner, and they went to bed. I finally sat on the couch. And it was like this hallway. There was just one light on, that hallway. I'm watching TV, and then I hear these little footsteps, and it's him. And he stands there in the hallway, just looking at me. So it's like his silhouette. And I'm staring back at him, and I'm not saying anything. Just like, I wait, and he says, "You did this to me." He says, "You made me bleed." And then he walks back into his room. I felt horrible.
Well, yeah.
He probably doesn't remember.
Right.
But that's always stayed in my like, you did this to me. I was like, man.
Ugh, I'm so annoyed you told that story, because now I have to tell mine. I guess this was a couple days ago. But Penny had been down for a nap. She was awake, but she was just playing in her crib. Door closed. And Ava's like, can I go play with Penny? And I'm like, no, if she's playing in her crib, I want her to stay playing in her crib. She'll let us know when she wants to come out and play. Or no, maybe she hadn't fallen asleep yet, and I was waiting for her to tire herself out. And we're standing in front of Penny's door. And when you talked about your middle kid being the negotiator, I feel like Ava is major negotiator mode right now, and I have zero patience for it. And she keeps asking, and I'm saying no, and then she's giving me reasons why I should reconsider, or I don't even know. I don't even know what her tactics are. I just know it ends up being a conversation that I feel has lasted way too long. Like I'm not going to change my mind, so we can stop talking about it now. No, you cannot go in there. She's fine. She's happy. If you go in there and start playing with her through the crib, then she's going to want to get out and play with you. And then you aren't old enough yet. Like, then that involves me, and I'm just going to be monitoring whatever. Anyway, Penny starts to make more like crying noises than happy noises. And Ava looks at me and she's like, see, she's already crying. So I'm going to go in there. After I've said like, no, this isn't happening. And she turns to the door to go in, and I'm like in my mind just being like, how is this happening? Like, you're just blatantly ignoring what I have just asked you not to do. And I don't I mean, the word slap is more intense. It's not the proper word to use, but technically my hand touched her cheek, and it was like the lightest. It was almost like when you take a kid's face and you turn it towards your face to be like no, look at me, I am being serious. But it was too much of a reflex. And so my hand hit her cheek. Her face barely moved. It was not painful, but I could not. It was such a reflex. And then again, like you just said, we both just stood there staring at each other. And in my mind, I'm being like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I just did that. Like I've never even come close to my hand and her face before in my life. And I don't know if it's because her head is, it's just like she's at the right level. And I don't know. I'm obviously making excuses for myself, but we stood there for a second and looked at each other, and then we parted ways. And in my head, I'm like, maybe she won't think that was a big deal, and maybe she'll just forget about it, and we can just pretend it didn't happen. She comes back out and sits on the couch, and I'm like, do you want to watch a Gilmore Girls? And she throws the remote. She's on the very opposite side of the couch, throws the remote towards me, and she's like, I mean, whatever you want to do, that's just what we're going to end up doing anyway. And I was like, okay. And then she inches a little bit closer on the couch to me and then looks at me and she just goes, you slapped me. And I was like, I know. And I am so, so sorry. I should not have done that. I should have said something right after I did it, but I didn't. And I'm so glad that you said something to me because it needed to be addressed that happened and that was not okay that happened. And everything was, whatever. We watched an episode and it was fine, but I don't know. That's one of the first things that's happened as a parent that I can't believe that I did, or that I had a moment of just like at a loss of what else to do to get this kid to listen to what I'm saying. And just that it just makes me more anxious about she's still little. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do when you're 16 and storming out to your car to drive off? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's challenging.
It's just like a constant, I'm like constantly being tested.
It's kind of changed, I feel, as they get older. Well, for boy, I can only speak like raising boys. Yeah. One time my youngest, I don't know what happened. I was cooking and he had this really bad attitude, and then he turned away and he said, and I've always shown about, speaking with people with, showing respect when you speak to somebody, you look someone in the eye, and he turned away and he mumbled something. And I said, hey, what did you say? He said, nothing. And I left the kitchen. I followed. He was walking away. So I grabbed him by his arm. I'm like, hey, do not turn away and mumble something. Say it to me. And he turned around. I grabbed his arm. By no means did I squeeze him or anything. I turned him around. And he said, he says, this is abuse. This is police abuse, he said. Police abuse. Because those, a lot of the police stuff happening and all that. And, they ask questions, all this. And he says, I'm going to call the police. I said, let me get my phone. You use my phone. Here, use my phone. He said, no, you know what? He says, I wish I was an orphan. So I was like, and as a parent,
we can do that too.
I said, hey, there's an orphanage up the road. I get the
orphanage up the road.
I said afterwards, I was like, God, why did I say that? So stupid. But you're so heated.
Oh my gosh, they're pushing all your buttons.
I said, there's an orphanage up the road. I could get the application. He's like, yeah, fill out. And he's got a little smirk on his face. He's like, yeah, fill out the application. But then later that evening after dinner, he comes over. He's like, I'm sorry I gave you an attitude. I was like, no, buddy, I understand. You're upset, but don't walk away from me. Let's talk about what you're feeling. And he's one that when he says something like that, he always comes back and like, I'm sorry I did that. And, that was mean of me, or we talk it through. But yeah, you're in that moment. You're just like, you're just pulling whatever you got. Like, Jeez. You say some stupid things. Yeah.
Everybody does. I mean, I've popped Parker's butt before, like once, in that same sort of reflexive thing, which nope, I'm not going to do the sad bars, whatever. That's my choice. But the point is, y'all both have addressed it. If you talk about those things, and that removes the feeling from the memory for them later. So I'm not saying that, but that's the thing. I think that's the answer to those things, because we're all going to do stuff that kind of thing, or other things that we don't mean to do because we're human. But I think then addressing it right after, then.
I know, but it's still like I didn't address it.
Yeah, but it got addressed.
It got addressed.
And his kid walked out, and they said it. He knows.
I've definitely become my dad in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
He said I wouldn't be. He was a great dad, but there's things that he would do that like I'm never gonna do that. And
right.
I'm doing every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
When we were kids, he would say, we would goof off. He would say, if you guys keep doing what you're doing, I'm gonna.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd walk away, and we're like, gonna what?
What's he
gonna what? Tell us what you're gonna do.
Did he go to start doing it right now?
No,
Wait,
tell us what you're gonna do.
It's a good technique.
Yeah.
So sometimes I like when they were younger, I'd be like, "You guys keep this up, I'm gonna," and then I'd walk away, and I'm like, "Damn, I'm my dad," because I have no idea what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah. And I think it sounds like your dad. I mean, like how he handled when you called him to say, you were having a hard time here or whatever, and the way that he handled that sounds like a great dad move. And those are good dad. We all pull the good things from our parents and learn from them. And I don't know why I'm doing this recap character. That's not really what I do normally. But.
Or we do things and then realize, oh, that's why my parents did that, because they have this many children that are these ages, and it's just tale as old as time.
Here's one more thing I add to it's all coming back to me, why I feel guilty.
Yes. Guilt.
That is why we're here.
It's very difficult for me to be dad and to be their fun friend and play all these games with them.
Yeah. It's
so hard for me to do that. And I don't think I'm ever going to figure it out. Right. We have our quality time. It looks different. I think, than everyone else's, maybe. Well, probably. But sometimes I feel bad that I'm not always this playful dad with them, because I'm leading these young men, and I'm like, it's almost, I feel a little militant of like I'm trying to show them how to be respectful. I've shown them how to cook and how to clean, even though they still don't quite get it. There was one night I got so upset at them because they were acting fools at the store when I just need to go in and get one thing, and I walk in there and they're kicking a soccer ball across the aisle in the store, and I'm like, we're going, let's get out of here. And I didn't get what I needed. We got home, and I locked myself in my room, and I hear they're like knocking, and my youngest is he's like, I hear him, he's in there. They're like talking outside. And so then I walk out, and I started folding laundry, and my middle son said, he's playing his video game, he's like, so what's for dinner? And I said, I don't know.
Oh, you guys can figure that out. I was going to figure it out at the store, but y'all wouldn't let me.
That's what I said. You guys figure it out. And he said, you would do this? You would let your children die? And I ignored it. I went back into my room.
As I told you before, there's an orphanage right down the street. I'm sure they serve free meals.
So I closed the door in my room. I just sat there. I started reading a book, and I felt terrible. I'm like, I got to make dinner. But I was like, no, I gotta teach them a lesson somehow, So I waited, and then I smell something from the kitchen. I'm like, oh,
burning.
No.
I am burning.
No. So I played it cool. I walked out and went to the bathroom, and then I walked to the kitchen. My middle son had scrambled eggs with cheese and ham, and for his brothers, and they're eating like it was the last meal they were ever gonna have.
So good.
And I'm just staring at them. They're just chomping away. And I walk over and I said, I am so upset and disappointed of how you guys treated me at the store. With everything that I do for you guys, I asked for just one moment for me that I needed to do this, and you could not do this. But also, I'm so freaking proud of you guys. You guys cooked dinner for yourselves. If you guys are ever to be in a situation where you're alone, I don't know.
Right.
You can take care of yourself and take care of each other. And one day you're gonna meet a person that you're gonna fall in love with, and they're gonna love that you cook for them. This is great. I'm still upset. And I walked away. And then we had this other thing that we did for a while. I wish we would do it more. I think it'd be hard to kick it in again. But on our commute home, that's all right. The next 10 minutes, it's a safe zone. I want you guys to say what's bothering you, what you're happy with at home, whether with me, your brothers, something that really just bothers you. Now's the time to say it. It's going to stay in this car. We're not going to use it against each other. This is a safe space for the next 10 minutes. And they each shared something. My oldest shared that he said, I wish you were a little tougher with homework and the work that I need to do for school. I was like, okay. My youngest said, of course, he's like, I wish you would play with us more. And I'm like, oh, man. And my middle son's like, nah, I'm good. I was like, all right. But it was great, like, you know, and we didn't talk about it again. And, you know, they said things about each other as well. Yeah. And I wish I would have done that more.
Yeah.
I think
that's a great idea.
Yeah. Like, say, whatever you want to say, you know, and it's hard because they're going to say, you're just so mean.
Right.
You know, I feel like I'm upset all the time. Or my face looks like it's upset all the time. Right. And then what you said, like, now I understand my dad. You know, we came from a big family, and the boys, I mean, they were rowdy when they're little. Chaos. And they're still rowdy, and they're just bigger now. Like the house shakes when they're, you know, pushing each other, and you can hear their rib cage vibrate when they're punching each other. Whew. And then before you know it, they're all hugging, watching movies together, or they can't go to bed unless the other one's already in bed. They're so close, but they still they're from the moment they wake up in the morning, they're just like, I'm like, guys, you guys been awake 3 minutes.
So much energy.
What? Yeah. There's something already happening.
Yeah. Just surges. Yeah. Testosterone.
You just open your eyes.
Yeah.
It's like,
brothers.
What are you doing? That's my hat. It's like,
why are we already arguing about a hat? What do you have any, if you could kind of pick a pearl of wisdom for any other dads or moms listening out there, like from I guess since it's mostly moms, especially because I do think it is so important to always try to understand our partners and who we're doing all this with. And when you have kids, it tends to divide the household, whether that's just with physical responsibilities and emotionally, and everybody deals with stress in different ways. But I didn't know if you had any, I guess, just advice that you would give, maybe something parenting related that you would pass on, but also, I don't know, something, I don't know how to word this, something that maybe helps moms understand dads in a different light as well, or just maybe having more grace when in areas that we don't want to.
Yeah, why are y'all like that? Just kidding.
You know, if you're not taking care of yourself, there's no way. If I wasn't taking care of myself, there's no way I could take care of my kids. You know, and friends who are talking about having kids or wanting a family, my advice always to them has been, and something that you can incorporate once you already have kids. But I told them, I feel like there's two ways you can go about it when you have your kids. You're gonna become a part of this kid's world, meaning you're gonna put you're gonna sacrifice you for this child, or this child is gonna be a part of your life. And that means there's things that you still want to pursue, there's things you still want to achieve, things you want to do for yourself. That don't stop that. I think that my kids see how much like I take care of myself, you know, whether it be with self-care or just, you know, my need to go exercise because it's therapy or yoga or be outdoors, or I'm consistently pursuing, you know, my creative endeavors of filmmaking and acting, and they've become a part of that world, and they understand like how important that is to me. This is not something like, it's not a hobby. This is part of my life. And I will do everything as a parent to take care of you, give you what you need, but it's very, very like hold them very loosely, you know? And it's hard because I want to just do everything for them. And I'm like, man, there's things I still got to do in this life. And I'd rather them see me doing all that. And it's harder. It's a lot harder because you got to be very intentional with your kids and the quality time or the things that you're pouring into. But man, you got to take care of yourself. You have to. I've just seen so many people that later on resent that, man, I gave my kids everything and they're gone. Duh, you know?
Right.
Right before we made the decision to split, you know, I had this conversation with my father, he's been passed on already, but we got on this call and he'd always been very neutral with my decisions with my family or just life in general. You know, he would give me his opinion on things, but he never said, this is what you should do. Or and this one time I was like, Dad, I just don't know what to do. This, you know, life's happened this way, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, you know, your kids are always going to love you. And he says, but there's going to come a time where they're going to leave and they're going to start their own life just like you did. And look at us. We're talking. We talk every day. They come back, but they're going to leave. And when they first leave, they probably won't even say bye. They're going to grab their bags and let's go. 18, college, or whatever it is. We're out of here. They're not going to look back. What does your life look like then? Are you happy with what you have, what you're doing, who you're with? Everybody deserves happiness. And he said, one day I woke up and looked in the mirror. I was 60 years old. Happened fast. But I was happy. I was happy with the decisions I made. There's things I wish I could have done different. But I was happy. And you got to think, are you happy? Do you feel happy with yourself? Your kids are going to love you. You're doing what you need to do for them. And I think that's always stuck with me, the importance of, as parents, taking care of yourself. They're going to be fine, you know, especially when they're little babies. People get all stressed out and like, man, you just got to feed them and hold them. They're fine. They're not going to cry, you know, blood.
Right.
You know? But yeah, that would be my biggest advice is keep taking care of yourself. What are the things you want to do? Find ways to still pursue them because, you know, we get one life, you know, and that we know of, you know?
Yeah.
And our kids is going to be like, see you, Dad. By the way, here's how much tuition is. Or, hey, you know.
There's no like, thanks for that 18 years that you gave up everything for me.
That's really good advice. That was my one. The one that I was going to throw in was, what do you do to fill the well or, you know, do for yourself? And there you go.
Yeah.
That's all he does, apparently.
Yeah. What did you say?
Congratulations.
Being responsibly irresponsible.
Yeah.
You know, because we have our trip. Like, for example, we're going to California, right?
Yeah.
You know, but in between there, they'll say, Dad, where are you at? Like, I'm at the beach. At the beach? Where? I'm in Florida. What? With who? With my friends.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
They don't question. They don't get upset. We have our moments and our times that we do things together, and the other times I'm like, see you later. I'll see you soon. What do you need? I can't do much from here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, can Venmo you?
I'll send a lift, I guess.
You know, we had our spring break vacation, and then I got booked to work on that show, you know, the most recent show I was on, and I felt bad, but I was like, I got to do this, you know, and it's like we canceled our whole trip to the beach.
It's so hard. Yeah.
So I was in a hotel, and they're, you know, they here in Nashville, and I'm finding the best way to just tell them like, man, I'm sorry. We'll make up for this. And my oldest said, he said it's totally cool. Well, you know, we got California. We're gonna do other little trips. He says, you're the coolest dad ever. This is another thing for us to brag about you. So don't worry about it.
That's so sweet.
I was like, I got some good dudes, you know?
Yeah, you got some good kids.
Awesome.
And I could have.
I think the oldest one's my favorite based on the stories.
I like the little one.
But the little one, yeah.
They're all incredible.
Second.
What do you, is it I don't know if it's there's a way to segue into, or whatever, this is not a segue, I'm just going to say it. The story about your youngest, that he's an old soul. Do you have, what were you going to say?
Yeah. Gosh, it started one night. We were having dinner, and he says, guys, I had a very weird dream last night. And he says, can I tell you about it? I was like, yeah, what's up? He says, well, I woke up in a field, and I was naked because I've been time traveling. He says, I don't know where I was going or where I was coming from. Isn't that weird? I said, no, that's interesting. And my middle son's like, I had a dream I was in my underwear at school.
Classic.
So that was the one time. And then we went on a hike to Radnor, and the two older boys are like stabbing each other with branches, you know, and pushing each other. And the youngest one's like moving rocks around. He saw like a little dead bird, and he says, Dad, they call me Papi. So he's like, Papi, I kind of believe in everything a little bit. And I said, okay, what do you mean? He's like, well, you know, when we die, we go to heaven, but we're not going to be in heaven forever. I mean, you might get bored. He said, that's when you have the choice to come back, but you can't come back as yourself. He said, you could either come back as like a bird or a plant or maybe just energy, right? I'm like,
right, Dad?
Man, dude, yeah, you might be right. You know?
Yep.
And then one time we were after that, like it was a sequence of these things he was saying. We're having dinner out in front of the patio in my house, and friends are there. You know, we're drinking. There's music, and it's loud. You know, and he said something out loud. No one else heard, but just me and my buddy heard. And he's trying to get everybody's attention, and he says, "You know, guys, I already lived and I died, and now I came back, but I'm a kid."
You're like mad about it.
So me and my buddy look at each. I look at him like, with my eyes telling him, like, see, dude, like he's saying all this crazy stuff all the time. And then I remembered, so
guys, I've already done this.
So I rewind 3 years prior. We were at the pool swimming, and he jumps out of the pool and he comes up to me and he puts both of his hands on my face, and he says, "I love being your dad." Like, I know what he meant, but then I put this all together and I was like, whoa, wait. I got an idea for a movie, a sci-fi, exploring old souls. So he's always he's always been that kid. He'll sit there with my friends and they're talking about dreams. And he'll sit like, and I'm like, what? And
like his party trick.
Yeah, and my buddy's like, dude, your son, man. He was telling me about his dream. I was telling him about mine.
Get him some tarot cards. Get this kid some tarot cards, man.
Yeah, somebody get this kid a reality show. Can he scribble things? Yeah. He's my favorite, for sure. The other two seem great, though.
Well, you want to do pop culture corner?
Yes.
I don't think Jesse knows what we're doing.
Yeah, you don't. I have not seen Ozark. My mom just binge watched that. She's with my kids, so I could have asked her, but I didn't. I do know the general plot. But what we are going to talk about instead is something that we've been holding on to because we had some masculine energy, so we're going to bring in just the most feminine, which is Sex and the City, the new one, which is called And Just Like That.
How excited are you? How excited are you about hearing about this?
I'm stoked.
Have you ever watched an episode of Sex and the City?
I have not.
Ever in your life?
Ever.
Never. Okay.
It's never too late to start.
Get out.
We're not airing this episode.
I told you.
We got disconnected with Jesse. I don't know what happened to his recording, but
his son beamed him out of here.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is speak from the assumption that someone has seen this show. So I do just like a 1 minute. I'm not a great storyteller, even a good one, really, like in the trajectory of storytelling. So I tell
as far as being linear, it's a lot of.
Yeah, it's not at all. So it's a challenge for me to keep things concise. So Pop Culture Corner is I try to tell like a whole thing in 1 minute.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to speak from the position of assuming that someone has seen it, and I know that you have not, but anyway.
But I bet a lot of our listeners have.
Yeah, and let me see.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I might get to the end of it and then like
circle back.
We don't care. That'll be fine.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, there are our three main characters, Carrie, Charlotte, and Miranda, and our fourth main character, Sam, who actually is present technically in this show, and just like that, is not present actually, but she is like one of the biggest characters in the show still somehow because she's texting with Carrie. So that's going on. And they have two new characters to replace her. And I meant to look up their names, but one of them is a friend of Carrie's and one's a friend of Charlotte's. And I think that the friend of Carrie's is going to end up being the one that stays. And Stanford, who we love, is only in a couple because Willie Garson passed away. Rest in peace.
In real life.
Yes. And Chris, there's lots of spoilers, by the way. Chris Noth dies in the first episode, which sets the stage for it. You thought that Carrie would be able to like date again, but she can't, or because she just spends the whole season mourning. But then at the end of the season, the outfit that she's wearing in Paris, or she goes to Paris, outfit she's wearing, podcast producer she made out with, it feels like they were testing us, and now they're going to give it to us in the second season.
Testing us.
The real ones are going to watch the second season. No one else.
I mean, when the first season ended, I immediately was like, oh, there has to be another one. Like, they're
100%.
setting this whole thing up for her to be dating again, so that we get all of the stories and the, except for a different age group.
Yeah. So in the whole series, and I'm saying this now to, why am I calling you Jesus? Sorry, Jesse. Did I say Jesse? Whatever.
You can call me Jesus.
I like saying it.
Makes sense now with the whole younger sons,
Yes.
Maybe it ties into
Ooh.
to the whole Jesus thing.
Wow. That's heavy. Not in a negative way.
Maybe your son really is the real Jesus.
Right. No, I thought he was God.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. That too. No pressure. I'm sure you're parenting him just fine.
Is that not the show that you're making? You're doing a great job.
I believe in your son now.
Oh my God.
That's good. I can't tell you the whole plot of the show. Just forget it. But yeah. What did you just say? You said something that was a good thread.
It's a really fun show.
What do you know of it just from growing up hearing about the show Sex and the City?
Yeah.
Just
Honestly,
the basics?
I don't know like anything about it.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow. I did not expect that.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Call yourself an actor.
If you were going to watch one season, I would say
Not the first one.
no. It is not the first.
We're talking about the original Sex and the City.
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah. Forget that. It's terrible. It's gone. It's not good. In my opinion.
Well,
it's
the
not
first,
great, but I love it.
First
I love
season
to
of
see it.
anything is
Tough.
Yeah, you're every character is a little over dramatic because everyone's establishing what. Here's this person's role. Here's this person's role. Here's this person's role.
Yeah.
But also the hair. Everyone's hair is pretty terrible.
Well, it's a controversial thing to say it's not good, but I watched every episode and I did like it. I don't know. It's everybody, like the rate, I looked it up to like remember people's character names, and Rotten Tomatoes is like 48%. Like, so people, you're just not going to please us.
Yeah.
Because we love the original so much. So
yeah.
I'm never going to be happy really. But the last episode did make me think maybe I will be kind of happy.
I'm definitely going to watch the next season. I would say it took me probably at least 3 episodes. I feel like once Big died, then I felt like, okay, I'm way more invested in this now.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, something major has happened. There's been a shift.
Yeah. Her outfit in Paris made me, did I say that like 7 times? It did make me think, okay, all right, they're going to turn it up next season, I think.
Yeah, got to.
I want them to. Okay.
Well, Jesse, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
People can find you on Instagram at, what is it? What's your Instagram handle?
Jesse Santoyo 1.
And it's Jesse.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And you can find Sarah.
Yes, follow me at don't or look at me on, I don't care. I'm going to change it. I literally
don't look at me. Look at me, but don't look at me.
But you can follow Joy at Tiffica, at Tiffica. That is from the renowned singing group 321 Famous. You can find them on MySpace. And check out Mr. Aaron's Goods, our sponsor. Delicious pasta, bagels, goods, all the goods, all the time.
Like and review on all of the platforms. I don't even know what the right word
iTunes,
to
you say.
use it. Yeah.
Like and review. No, that's not right.
Subscribe.
Rate and review. Subscribe. Something. Do all the things that you
know
can
what
do
it is.
on iTunes.
We trust you.
But if you're not going to give us 5 stars, then don't.
Please don't.
Don't do that. And follow us at Momcult Podcast.
Podcast.
It's really hot in here. We have to turn
It's
off
so
the
hot.
AC.
It is a little warm.
We should lead with that now from here until September. We're going to lead with it's hot. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you.
And happy
Father's
Day. I guess when this comes out, it'll be a couple days before Father's Day. So happy early Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to
all
our
the
dads.
amazing dads out there.